oversized and it's all crumpled
There's some
onto the
paper on the
thing.
top. Yeah, you're
So
right.
what had happened was the brother that was in charge of the label didn't know what the other brother was doing with the bottle size. So he created this oversized label. And anyway, so they wrapped it onto the bottle and go, oh, fuck, this doesn't actually fit properly. And they go, this is not good. We don't have any time. We need to get this shit off to the thing. So they've wrapped the label around these tiny bottles and it's all crumpled up and da-da-da. Yeah, and they get into the thing. And then one of the judges in this competition goes, boys, your shit's amazing, right? But he goes, what's actually more incredible is the fact that you guys have went to a level of actually like distinctively like having this label that's oversized on a bottle and it creates this interesting texture. So don't change that. Like that's actually incredible.
Oh, amazing foresight.
And well, not even foresight, a happy coincidence, happenstance has occurred.
Foresight to say that would be a thing.
Yeah. And then because it was distinctive enough to set these bitters into another level, they go, well, now it's iconic. It's iconic, the fact that they've got this oversized label on this bottle of bitters.
And it irritates every person that touches every bottle ever.
But no one's ever thought about it. And one goes like, well, why is this the way it is? All I know was like when I go to look for the bottle of bitters, I want the one with the label which is a little bit skew-if, But that's distinctiveness and that's brand in motion.
I think that taps into a more human thing where there's a negotiation tactic when you say the wrong information to a person. Yeah. And their ego makes them correct it. Correct. And then they give you the proper information. Yeah. And so you just say the wrong thing and they go, this has got to be, actually it's like, and people cannot fucking help themselves. If you don't believe me, go home tonight, try it on your dad. Yeah. Try it on your dad. He will correct your ass,
At least his interpretation of it.
Yeah. But they'll give you the information, which is what negotiation is. Can you get more information than you give out? Yeah. And so people look at that bottle and go, this fucking shit. Yeah. And they're like crinkling it. Why? Yeah. And it's crazy.
But it's also like that, like brands try to do everything to stop that from happening, which I think is the craziest thing. Like everyone tries to create perfection in everything they do. So, and you would know as someone who produces and directs amazing cinematography and film, like people, like you'll get a briefing from a client, they go, it needs to have these 5 words in it this many times and it needs to say this kind of thing. And you go, no one actually gives a shit about that. Nobody cares. If I can create the vibe of that feeling, it's actually more powerful than us saying it 5 times. Yeah. So how about we try that? But for, unfortunately, a lot of marketing managers and a lot of organizations, they go, we have tick lists of things that we need to actually ensure that are in the product. And you go, well, actually, I'm sorry, you're wrong. There's another way of doing this, and it's actually about trying to connect with people in a way that they feel that is authentic.
Yeah, and can I tell you a really sad fact? In fact, I think just from my experience, no data, nothing, the one thing that matters is how long does it go for? Because people look at it and they go, you watch something on YouTube, you can do this experiment on yourself. They push play on YouTube. They look down for how long does it go for in the bottom right-hand corner, and then they look back and in their head, they do a bargain and go, do I have that fucking time? Yeah. And if it's like for corporate videos, which used to be 5 minutes, no one has fucking 5 minutes, right? But if you can get it to 90 seconds or even under a minute, even better, they go, fine, whatever. And then the information goes in. Because what's the point of packing more information if it goes for longer than a person has to bargain to watch it?
Well, it's risk versus reward. And like for us now, time is everything. So we live in a generation now where decisions are made within like 3 to 7 seconds on TikTok.
It's crazy. Because that used to be, it used to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
It wasn't 30 to 90 seconds probably.
It was minutes. Like it was minutes for a stage, and then it came down and down and down. And when you think about, like, I've set up a time limit on my phone to say it times out Instagram at 30 minutes a day. And it's amazing how quick that time goes. Yeah. Right? Now that's for me, a 40-year-old person who's like just trying to like make sure I'm getting the most out of life. But when you think about kids where you go, you've actually got zero obligation, like you're not worrying about, your finances.
Food appears on the table.
Yeah, food appears on the table. It's like you can spend unlimited time near on like absorbing information.
Yeah, big mistake. I think we've wiped out a generation with that.
Yeah, but also that's just the way it goes. It is what it is. So it's like you can't fight it. Just lean into it, and the next generation will be something else altogether. So
that really bothers me because movies, you know, the fucking shit we grew up on was going to a video store and picking out movies, right?
Yeah.
Which is peak.
Yeah.
And going to cinema. But kids can't, how the fuck are they going to sit in the cinema and watch Titanic for 3 hours? It's just not going to happen.
But also, is that okay?
No, but it's not okay. But are they going to give a fuck?
Well, are we becoming more?
It doesn't matter if an AI puts out a cinematic release for 90 minutes, they charge you $25 as standard. You go to the cinema,
Yeah.
It was all done in AI and it costs them about $50 in subscription fees to make.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
But it's also like, what is the value here? Like for us, before we'd value cinematic storytelling and time spent, like it's like looking at a book and going, right, this book is 300 pages, so therefore it's more value. Whereas in the future, it might be this book is 3 pages, so it's actually really effective. So therefore, that is really valuable to me.
Yeah, I just heard a Freakonomics podcast and it was about everything you needed about investing in money can fit on an index card, one index card. And so this guy made the joke. He said, we could probably do it all on one index card. And then people on Reddit or whatever the fuck started saying, well, where is that index card? He's like, what? So he wrote it on an index card and it was 6 things, you know, don't buy a house until you can afford it and, you know, put it in it, whatever. And it's probably like that actually for films. And
can I get that index card?
yeah. People were like, with that, it was like the 6 things of money, but it was so things, you know, save 20% or whatever that you got. But it was, you know, maybe things need to go on index cards for kids but you're in marketing, I'm in film, and we're all looking for eyeballs.
Yeah.
Right. That's the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And so now we're looking at a whole new set of eyeballs. And I think we're in a lucky period at the moment where the people that have money are boomers and we know how they operate.
Yeah.
The people we can't get into and the boomers want to talk to are kids. And we know they have no fucking money. So why would you use them as a consumer?
Correct.
Right? They got no money. We're students. We had no money.
They are the future consumers and they are the influencers of another generation.
But the boomers have got more money than anybody's ever going to have.
However, we are looking at now the biggest change of intergenerational wealth the world has ever seen. Yeah. So these will be the future, like opinion makers, like deciders of what the future looks like. So you need to be mindful that, like, yeah, sure, like boomers have the money right now. In 5 to 10 years, that won't be the case. What are you doing to virtue signal to create the right conditions for these new breed of consumers to actually make an informed decision and make them love you for what you are?
And I think what we've bred and boomers have bred together is a generation of kids that are hyper individualistic. Mm-hmm. They are hyper consumed on just themselves. What brand am I? What does this matter? Mm-hmm. And then the dollars are spent on making themselves bigger and trying to get through the noise of the world.
Individualization.
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive. And so when you're selling to those people, you're like, this makes you better because.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to spend their dollars on.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's common and we don't know how to do it. I don't think anyone knows how to do it.
I wish I knew.
That's the minute. Like, I mean, we're going to look back at this podcast in 20 years and just be like, we had the fucking question, but we didn't have the answer.
Give me the brief. Someone pay me to do it.
No, you said it. You already said it. I think the OnlyFans and things like that, like Patreon, I think Patreon's a good round.
Yeah.
Still good for like, if you're selling a course or you're teaching, if you're giving value for free and the people then trust you because of the free value they've got, they will invest money in you because of the thing that you're selling.
Yeah. But it's the future, like micro communities, people who believe in what you're selling. Like that's it.
Tribes.
Yeah,
exactly. All right, I'm going to tell you the brand I was thinking. You didn't get it. Nike. I was like, do not push record on that. I could fucking unrecord. So I was thinking about, for me, it was Nike.
Nike.
Yeah, because I saw this. They just always did it differently, and I love sports, and sports documentaries how it got started. And they did this one, and it was like a one shot. So a one shot in film is the kind of the pinnacle because you don't need a cut, you don't need editing. It's post-production. It skips post-production. It's just you just do it. Can you tell a story in that one shot?
Yeah.
And until 1917 came out, which was fucking mind-blowing, top 5 film of all time, in my opinion.
I feel, man, like that is insane. Like, and there is some elements of stitched, but that one shot feeling.
If you
what was the other
yeah.
True Detective where they had that one shot scene
where he's escaping from the house.
Insane. Like you haven't connected with a character so much when you actually see the context in which they're traveling through time.
And I mean, if you're making a film, what's the point of doing anything if you need to get the audience? Because the whole thing is about getting the audience in the character's shoes, feel what he's feeling.
Correct.
And so a one shot is kind of one of the best ways to do that because it's in real time as well. So you're lining them up. And Nike did this one and it was just a fucking fat kid, really fat kid with man boobs and everything and sweat and he's jogging.
Yeah.
And it's just from a production point of view, it's a camera in the fucking back of a Mitsubishi wagon or whatever.
Yeah.
Reversing, slow shot, and this kid's slowly coming over the hill of a curved road and it's sunset.
Yeah.
And he's just jogging and puffing.
Yeah.
And it was just a slow one shot and it's like, it's not about the victories. It's not about being the fastest. It's not about being the strongest. It's about taking the steps for your life.
Yeah.
Fucking paraphrased all that. It's not exactly the words, can't remember.
Yeah.
But like, and this fat kid just sweating it out. And then it just fades to black and goes Nike. And you're like, it's about, because the message was something along the lines of, and I haven't seen it in 20 years, but it was like, it's your journey.
Yeah.
Your steps.
Well, that's the thing.
Your life.
Everyone's been the fat kid and like everyone identifies with being imperfect. So what do you think about that journey and what they're going through?
Ordinary people, your life.
There's no way you can't empathize with that because everyone's got the fat kid inside them. They go, I can be better.
Yeah.
I can be better.
But Nike, you never see sneakers in their ad. That's not the point. They're wearing the sneakers, but it's not the point. It's about your journey. You're the guy. Make it about you. And fucking that shit is magic. And I watched that film and I went, for the ads, because I'm always teetering between like, do I shoot ads and get money or do I shoot films and get no money? But I tell a story that I want, that's inside of me that I want to get out. And
well, that's the thing. You're a filmmaker. Like, so you look for an ability to tell a story that you find personal. Like you want to tell a story that you find riveting. Like that's something based on a personal belief. Whereas when you are driven by commerciality, where a client comes to you and says, hey, we want you to manufacture reality, you go, right, all right, what do I have to actually like give up in order to tell this story? Like, and everything's a compromise because there will be things that you get asked to do where you go, maybe I don't necessarily believe in this thing. Maybe I don't think that this is the reality, but I understand the objective of what this is trying to achieve. So therefore I will produce this thing. Like, it's a challenge. It is a challenge. There's things there's some of the biggest jobs I've ever worked on are for big oil and gas companies and for things that I don't necessarily like see eye to eye with. And like, even when I understand the objective behind it, like when you're dealing with the corporate communications at the highest level, like there's a quote that says the informed majority will always win over an uninformed majority. I've seen that in effect. I have seen that in effect. I think there's a game called Werewolf, which is an old like Russian game, which says like, there's a game where pretty much like stand around and a couple of them are the werewolves, and like when people close their eyes, people tap them on the shoulder and people have to like sit around as like the citizens of the town have to like point out who they think are the werewolves, like who's killing them. And it always ends up being that the werewolves will win because the informed minority will always win over an uninformed majority. And it's the way that works with business, the commerciality of things, the way that like small but very powerful groups can impact the way the world works is true. It's true.
If you could change one thing about the way that, and that's tough. I mean, I'm going to say just transparently, I've never said this out in loud in person, but there's times where you just have to take the money because that's what keeps you alive, paying the rent, and you've just got to just do what the client wants and ship it, even though you don't want to. And you could do it a better way, but that would mean being unpleasant, not unpleasant to come, but just having an unpalatable discussion.
Yeah.
And just going, hey, look, we can make the world a better place by doing this, or we can just do, and it's fucking hard, man. Like, You've just got to go like, okay, we want you to be happy because that's what I want. I want you to be happy, but I also want you to win. But if it's got to come down to you win versus you being happy and paying me, it's going to have to be you happy and pay me and I'll just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's